jolly good. Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clank Zoka, and welcome to another My Thoughts On. Today, I'll be talking about a film called Racing Stripes, the 2005 family talking animal movie. And you're probably thinking, why the hell am I talking about this? Okay, I'll tell you. It's not much, but I'll tell you. It's a film that I have a little bit of memory of it, but I don't remember that much about it. All I know is there's a zebra who's in it, and that's it. I think I've only seen maybe a couple of, clips, scenes here and there, but nothing that not like the full movie or anything like that. And that's it. I just never watched it entirely. I wish I did, but I certainly didn't. Anyway, so this is directed by, I'm going to find his name, Frederick Duchar, who also directed Underdog, and he directed the Quest for Camelot, that animated film with Carrie Always as Gary Oldman, Eric Idle, and Don Rickles. How did this guy go from directing a somewhat mediocre but nice looking film to this and Underdog? The mind does literally boggle. So is it as bad as Underdog, or is it, I guess, slightly better, or I guess on par with Quest for Camelot? Well, let's find out. The story is about this zebra. His name is Stripes. He's voiced by Frankie Muniz. I think that's how you pronounce his second name. He's from Malcolm in the Middle, and he's also aging Cody Banks. And I think he was in Big Fat Liar as well. You know, that film with, what's his name? Paul Giamatti. That's what I was referring to. Anyways, so he gets left behind by a circus group, I think. And you know how it goes. People find him and they raise him as some horse or something like that. It's similar to Ferdinand and Bolt and all those movies in a way. The little girl, the young girl, has a love for the animal and wants to keep him and train the animal as well. But the father is like, no, we cannot do that. And the animal meets some wacky friends, and then there's a villain who's competitive, and there's a human villain who wants to sabotage his chances of winning, and yeah, quite similar. Am I right? Or am I right? Yeah. This is a very straightforward, run-of-the-mill, very basic, kids story. This is really nothing new. It's just very basic and standard in terms of story. I'll give it credit that, the first 30 minutes of the film is actually, how'd I put it? It's actually not bad. It's actually fairly extraordinary. It starts off rather strong and sweet, and I thought, okay, I'm getting a hint of Charlotte's Web and, I guess, Warhorse 2, but, it didn't start off with, any over-the-top comedy, but it starts off with, a bit of sweetness to it, and, to be fair, Stripes does look cute. He's a zebra, so I can't complain there. It starts off strong for the first 13 minutes. I thought, maybe this won't be so bad after all. There's a little bit of humour sprinkled in there, which can land a decent laugh, but it's not bad. It could possibly be a decent kids' film. Not Paddington, but it could be fine. And then it happened. When the film actually starts to get going, it just kind of slowly but surely falls apart. The humour quickly becomes just celebrities talking out of their anus. There's poop jokes, there's repetitive, cartoonish humour to it that's not natural and it's very out of place. The film gets instantly predictable, and also it kind of ends a little too fast for me. Like, not everything feels justified or feels earned. And is it just me, or does this film feel like a poor man's Cars? And this film came out a year before Cars. I would say it would be ripping off Racing Stripes, but to be fair, the film is also ripping off like lots of other films as well. It's one of the most very, very basic like sports movies you can think of. Cars did something similar to this, and it did it better. And I'll even go as far to say Cars 3 as well. Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, nothing feels really new about it. The idea of a zebra being a racing horse is not bad, but that's it. That's literally the only like interesting thing about the film. But even then, they don't really seem to do much with it, except for the fact that he is a... Wait for it. He's a zebra. You could have gone like a cow or something, or a goat or something. Zebra, I don't know. Zebras just don't seem that different from horses. All Stripes seem to do is just, walk around and just talk and run. I mean, yeah, he looks different, he looks similar, but at the same time, not really. No. There's nothing creative or expressive about the idea. It's just, it's just a zebra, and he thinks he's a horse. And he even thinks he is an actual horse until they say, oh, you're a zebra. And spoiler alert, well, that's not really a spoiler, it's painfully obvious, really. So that is like, oh god, that's very predictably boring. When it comes to the racing stuff, it's quite exciting and interesting, and especially it's nice to see like a zebra taking part, which is, it's fine, it's good, it's perfectly fine. The drama of the film, when it comes to Stripes, is both understandable. He's trying to fit in, but people make fun of him, which I can relate. But at the same time, there are scenes that I can't really get into because the character can be a bit unlikable, which I'll get to in a minute. But the drama's done fine, especially with the daughter and the father. The father, Nolan Walsh, played by Bruce Greenwood, and the daughter played by Hayden Panettiere. I don't know how you pronounce her last name. And oh, by the way, she's actually the voice of Kate from Alpha and Omega. I know it's not that interesting of a fact, but it's interesting enough. And I know the film's not that good, but hey, it's interesting, so just take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah? So, yeah. Storytelling at best is not bad. It's just very basic and standard and just gets the job done, I suppose. But it's still predictable. It's still just kind of dull and long, and it's not even... The film for about 80% wasn't funny. The 20% was just amusingly funny, but not like laugh out loud. It's not dramatically well done, but it's just fine. It gets the film just, this film is just doing what it's supposed to, and it's just not interesting enough, and it could have been so much better. If this was animated like Brad Bird, like what he did with the Iron Giant, maybe this could have been, this could have been like a really fun movie, I suppose, and you could have done more to Stripes than just, oh, he's just a zebra and not do anything with it. You could have included his habits and what he likes and dislikes. And yeah, you could have done that. But no, they decided to take the safe and predictable option, which is fine, I guess, but it's just not enough to, like... excuse me. It's just not enough to say that the film is creative or original. It's just perfectly fine for what it's doing, but just not enough to stand out, really. Visuals. The visuals for the film and the way it looks is pretty gorgeous. It is a really pretty looking film. I don't know where it's set. I think it's set in this like American countryside county or something like that. It looks pretty. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'll give credit to the CGI. Is not bad either with the mouth movement, and it is a bit obvious at times, but not awful, just passable enough to be okay, just okay. Just perfectly okay. And give credit to for actually using animals, and there are even some like animatronic puppets here and there that are actually well done as well. It's not awful. It's pretty decent, pretty consistent, I'd say, for the most part. But yeah, that's all the positives that I have. The negative or negatives is that there are these two flies who are voiced by Steve Harvey and David Spade, and they're awful. I'll get to them in a minute, but the CGI is awful. It doesn't even look... I mean, on one hand, it's good that they actually made them look like cartoony flies and not like actual flies. Otherwise, it would have been hard for me to watch it, because if there's one thing that you should know, I really do not like the look of flies. They look fucking ugly. I'm not making that up. But, and their designs look fine, but it would have been better if their designs were in like a 3D animated film. They look like they came out of like Ants or like the Ant Bully, which came out a year after. Like, they look, their designs look something like perfectly serviceable, but at the same time they just look awful and they don't seem to fit all that well. They're just terrible looking. Again, the film looks nice. It looks pretty. So, cinematography is like, it looks exactly like a family-friendly comedy in a way, but, it looks pretty. It's, effects are not bad, and I like any film that uses actual animals, and it works better than cats and dogs, I suppose, but the flies look kind of awful as well, and some of the editing is a bit off, but it's not bad. It's pleasant to look at enough. Characters and acting. Characters. There wasn't really a character in the film that I either loved or hated. There's just a good mixture of ones that I like, and then there are those that I dislike, if you can put it that way, yeah. The main character, who I thought was actually just okay, is actually kind of an unlikable douche. Like, he is really not all that likable or that funny. He's like, the fish out of water character who doesn't know where he is or what he's doing, but it's fine. But there's a point where he just kind of seems unenthusiastic about what's going on and what he wants to be. And he is really unlikable. He's not funny. He's not charming at all. He's just kind of whining and going like, "Oh, why do I have to do this?" Or, "How do you know that?" He just walks away and acts so moody. Obviously, he gets his act together and he does get a grip and actually does it. And I'll let you figure out what happens. But he's not an endearing main character. He's okay, but just not great. The other main characters are, you got this dog named, what was his name? Tucker. He's voiced by Dustin Hoffman before Kung Fu Panda as Master Shifu. His character is just your typical, like, hey kid, mentor. And he's like Doc Hudson, only not as memorable or even as well written. He's just kind of there. Franny, voiced by Whoopi Goldberg, who I really like. She's kind of wasted, and her character is just there to say a few words and encourage Stripes. Yeah. You've got Sandy, who's like this loving interest, voiced by pre-tangled Mandy Moore. And that's all she is, just Sally. And you got Clydesdale, voiced by the late Michael Clark Duncan. I think he's the chicken. I could be... Oh no, Reggie's the chicken. So who the fuck did he play? I can't remember. This film didn't really wow me all that much. So who did he play? Oh, it doesn't matter, I suppose. Anyways, you got the villains who are played by... I've got to try and find his name. Yeah, so Trenton. Yeah, he's voiced by the late Fred Thomas, who's just the typical like straightforward tough villain. And yeah, that's it. That's all I really got to say about him. He's not memorable. Even his son, Ruffshod, is just the stereotypical, like, son making fun of Stripes, but then gets along with him. You got Goose, who's like this stereotypical gangster pelican, voiced by Joey Pantoliano. And he gets a couple of laughs, I'll give him that, but nothing more. And the humans are just as equally as uninteresting as the animals. The dad, played by Bruce Greenwood, Nolan, is just your typical, like, stern father just looking out for his child, but, he's like, you shouldn't do that. And then he gets won over by looking at a photo and some medals. Yeah, again, Cars did it better. Channing, who's the daughter, is just a typical uplifting, like, optimistic child who will never give up, Clara Derry Mimple, played by Wendy Malik, is the human antagonist who's over the top and devious. Yeah. Woodsy, played by Emmett Walsh. Sorry. It's just another supporting human character for the main characters, and yeah, none of them I really found that interesting. And then you have these two fucking flies. Yeah. They're both voiced by Steve Harvey and David Spade. These two is what make this film insufferable. I mean, all the characters, they're not good, but they're fine. I can tolerate them. Even Stripes I can kind of tolerate. And some of the humans who are not even that interesting are trying, at least. But these two flies... they're the reason why this film just goes from passable to not pleasant. If you didn't include them or any of the other pointless supporting characters, I think this film would have been slightly better. But with these annoying flies, over-the-top villains, and some very annoying animal sidekicks, it's hard to really get into this film and say, oh wow, I enjoyed them, but clearly I don't. They're just not that interesting. They really aren't. And the flies just make it worse. Just by throwing in some stupid, sprouty jokes and poop humour. Oh, it's charming. However, the thing that does save these characters from being poor as all hell is that the voice acting is pretty good. Frankie Muniz, his performance is pretty great. He did sound like Jesse Eisenberg sometimes, which was kind of off-putting. Snoop Dogg has like a small role as Lightning, the dog, which was weird because I didn't know Snoop Dogg was huge back in the day. Yeah, okay. Dustin Hoffman, who I think is a bit out of place here, does a good job, and Whoopi Goldberg's always a delight as well. And you've also got Michael Clark Duncan, Mandy Moore as well. They're both really good. Joey Pantoliano is also good. Steve Harvey is actually, even though his fly character along with David Spade are not funny, him and Spade actually pull off a pretty interesting performance. The human actors are pretty good. I think Bruce Greenwood does seem to have fun and really get into his role. The same with Hayden Panettiere as well. Same with Wendy Malik, Emmett Walsh. They're all good. They seem to play their roles just fine. The characters don't really seem to be anything other than they're that character. You know, Stripes is fine. He's a perfectly watchable and likeable character enough until he becomes like very, very mean halfway, and he's just kind of a dick sometimes, and the others just don't stand out. So voice acting actually is what saved them from being awful, but those two flies will never fuck off. So yeah, characters are fine, but it's just that there's so much annoyance in some of them. Just, that's it. That's all I've got. Lastly, the score by Mark Isham, if that's how you pronounce it. His score is quite nice and pretty to look at, pretty to listen to. It's very standard for film scores and music, but it's nice either way. Well, it's no Paddington, and it's nothing I would say that's above good. But it's watchable at best. Racing Stripes is not a good movie at all. It's too bland, too generic. It doesn't even try anything new with the zebra trying to be a racing horse, and it is mainly unfunny and just follow the same beats with its like cliche characters and rather unappealing CGI. But the first 30 minutes of the film was actually not bad, and it actually could have gone somewhere. It looks nice in terms of visuals and location and how it's made. Character of Stripes is understandably likeable, even if he is a little mean. The voice acting's pretty good, and the music is nice. If you got kids, I think they'll just like this and probably forget about it. That's how I see it. Just show them Paddington or Peter Rabbit 2. Paddington 1 and 2 and Peter Rabbit 2. Show them that instead, but this isn't a terrible film. It's just perfectly passable, but nothing above just a okay watch. Cars and all these other films did it better. Even fucking Surf's Up did it better. 5 out of 10. Not really going to watch it again, but it was just okay. Yeah, there you go. Racing Stripes. Interesting film, not really one I'd watch again. On Tuesday, I'll be talking about Chronicle from Josh Trank, the man who destroyed Fantastic Four. So look out for that, and if you have watched Racing Stripes, what do you think about it? Is it good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, bye for now.